Here's another way that you can add floors to a building which has a curve kind of in the vertical direction. If you just extrude the floor up, all of these floors are going to be perfectly rectangular and the same size, and they're going to be sticking out of the wall. So let me show you a different method. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to section analysis, and I'm going to create that section view, basically slicing my building in half so that I can see inside of it. That's the first thing I want to do. The next thing I want to do is I want to come down here, come to create a sketch on the inner back wall of my building, because I want my floors to be inside of my building. You can see here, if I zoom in, the wall thickness is visible, and I want to project a this face that I'm highlighting, but the inner wall. I don't want the outer wall, I want the inner wall here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press P for project. It's also found here in the create menu. And I'm just going to select this inner face, this inner wall. And that's going to grab all of these inside lines, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. You can see it becomes a purple line that I can now use as part of my sketch. So to create my first floor, I'm going to use a line tool. Now there's a few ways you can do this. You can try to hover over that inside wall and it'll lock onto it, and then you can drag it over to the other wall, it'll lock onto it, and it's going to be a little bit difficult to get perfectly horizontal, but it should lock into place when it's horizontal. If you don't end up selecting the wall or you don't get it perfectly horizontal, don't worry. You can use constraints to help you out. So I'm going to use this coincident constraint, meaning I want a point to be on a line. I want that point to be on that line, and I want this point to be on this line. And I can use my horizontal/vertical tool to help my line find the closest horizontal or vertical plane. Okay. Now, I'm just going to work with one floor for now. What I need to do next is give my floor some thickness. And so I'm going to create that second line right above it. And again, if you don't get right above it, it's fine, because you can always use a dimensioning tool, sketch dimension. I just press D as a shortcut, and I'm going to select these two lines. Think about what thickness do I want for my floor. I'm going to use the same as my wall thickness, which is 0.25 meters. And now, if I were to finish the sketch, I could extrude this thin shape here as my first floor, and I would want to extend it to be the same length as my building, which I know is, same width as my building. Now when you touch the opposite wall, it automatically changes it to cut, so make sure you make it a join feature to create that solid body, and voila, I've got my first floor. Now, you may be thinking, but Mr. Triple, how do I get this to be more than just one? Do I have to hand draw every single line? No. And that's where the pattern tool comes in. So within this sketch, you also have a pattern. By the way, I've just reopened my sketch here. If you want, you can roll back the timeline, but you don't have to. You can just double click the sketch to edit. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pattern, rectangular pattern, and I'm going to select the geometry that I want to pattern, which should be both of these lines, because I want to keep the thickness of each floor. I'm going to come over here to spacing because I know I want each floor to be 4 meters. I need to select my direction. I'm going to go in the vertical direction, which I know is my y-axis, and voila, these floors appear. I'm going to kind of just check to see how many floors will take me to the top. Nailed it. Click OK. Now you might be wondering, well, this doesn't solve my problem. This is the same as before, but what is the key here is the trim tool. Okay, and this is under modify at the top. I'm going to click trim, and all of a sudden I can go and click all of these lines. This part is a little bit tedious because you have to click each individual line, but it should go pretty quick, much faster than, you know, another method. I wonder if I can even do multiple at one time. Yeah. You can play around with it, but for now, for this video, I'm just going to manually trim. And I even have to zoom in because these lines did go over my inner wall. Actually, you may not even need to trim. Let me try an experiment here. I'm going to leave those untrimmed because what we might do is in our extrusion, and if you don't have to delete this extrusion and create a new one, you can just edit this extrusion and select more lines. Now, I think this is actually really cool because it doesn't even care about these outside lines. It's going to look for the closest complete closed shape. And this can be a little bit tedious too, as you click each little shape. If you accidentally click the big shape, don't worry, you can just unclick it. And by unclick, I just mean click again. I'm not holding any special keys, I just click it again to make it disappear. And voila, I've got my floors. So now I can see that my building is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 floors. And that's the lesson.